In this video, I'm going to be giving you 3 unique ways to make your product stand out with Google Shopping ads and as a result, scale your e-commerce brand to the very next level. I can't tell you how many e-commerce brands completely overlook this important process, and as a result, they end up spending a lot more money or bidding a lot higher than they really need to in order to rank their product and in order to actually come out profitable at the end. But with that, the first easiest way to make your product stand out from what I have seen is to simply add a background object. Now, this is a perfect example right here. I've searched up the keyword 3D printer, and the background object in this situation can be seen for this fourth brand. Essentially, what they have done is they've added some background objects which don't necessarily showcase the product itself. I mean, if we look right here, this product and this product are very similar to each other. However, what they noticed is there are other brands which have a very similar approach to what they have already taken, and as a result, they decided to add some background objects inside the product image itself to make it look a bit unique, to make it stand out essentially. Now, this is a bundled product, whereas this is an individual product and not the whole bundle, but that's besides the point. What you want to be understanding is regardless of what product it is, what you are selling, even in this situation right here, adding background objects can often help amplify your product and make it very quickly stand out. So if we see right here, this woman is the background object here. Now, I don't personally believe this is a good approach at all because there's way too many background objects at the same time. This is something you want to definitely avoid, by the way. You want to have one major background object. In this situation, it could have been a plain simple background with just the background color of the wall and the table, and then the woman along with the 3D printer. That's literally all you need to now make the attention go towards the object and then redirect that attention towards the product. Your main goal by adding the background object, it's not to add unnecessary clutter within your product images, nor is it to distract the user from understanding what your product is. Rather, it's all about capturing attention, number one, and then redirecting that attention from that object back onto your product. So as you can see, her hands are on the actual product itself. She's kind of leaning on it, and it looks like it's completely photoshopped, by the way. There's no real woman in here. They just added it in. This is the perfect example of how you want to do it as well. You can do it similar to this, but that's one of the easiest ways, simply adding a background object and then emphasizing the product. At the end of the day, you want to ensure your product is still the number one focus in this situation. But the second and most easiest way to stand out from competitors is to simply flip your product image. Now, this third brand right here, Anchor Make, is the perfect example of this. All of these competitors have their 3D printers pointed in this direction from left to right essentially. This brand right here noticed that, and instead of trying to make anything too fancy, instead of going out doing some photography or adding a bit of clutter into the background, what Anchor Make did is it essentially just flipped the product image. That's all it needed to do, because now if we look right here, out of all of these product images which have stuff going on in the background, which have other images and whatnot, Anchor Make easily stands out simply because they're just the opposite of the competitors. They don't need to have a very unique background image. They don't need to have it placed in a real lifestyle background at all, because just doing this little flip, it's sort of like a psychological trigger for the average user, which makes their attention get redirected back to your ad and your brand. Now, this is something I highly recommend you A/B test along with the product image, which is in the normal direction you would like. But in most cases, just flipping the product image from what your top 5 average competitors are doing can often do the trick. I mean, if we look at their product titles, very basic product title. They don't have too much going on here at all. In fact, I would say this is a bad way to do your product titles. They don't have any Google Merchant Center reviews, no types of promos, none of that stuff, yet they rank number 3. And this is probably because despite not doing any of these things, their CTRs are higher than average because they're doing a very good job of capturing the attention. And keep in mind, your ads right here with Google Shopping, at least even Google search ads, their main goal is not to do this selling. The selling happens on the landing page, on the product page itself. The main goal of these ads is to generate that click. And when you generate a lot of clicks, when your CTR is high, Google notices this, and as a result, is going to start pushing your ads more and more to the front because it believes you have a high quality ad. And as a result, that's why more and more individuals are starting to interact with your ads. They're trying to click on it, so on and so forth. So the main goal again is to essentially generate that click, generate demand. But the third easiest and most simplest way to stand out with your product images in 2025 and onward onwards, is to add a badge to your product image. Now, these examples right here of this brand, essentially, this is a perfect example because they've added these badges in here, which essentially don't really have too much of a meaning behind them. Maybe they're badges that are specific for this niche, but regardless of what the situation is, adding a badge is very helpful because not only does it now make it easier to get your attention because of the color of this badge and just because it's unique and no other brand has it, but also it can also induce a lot of trust within your products and within your brand as a whole, especially if that badge has some kind of meaning associated with it. So adding these types of badges is a very good move as for your Google Shopping product images, but you need to ensure that number one, these badges have some kind of dark color to them, but trust-inducing colors. You don't want to go out and add in some bold black colors or any types of colors which don't induce trust, but rather scare away your customer. But second, if these badges have some kind of meaning within your niche, that's even better. The key here is to ensure your badges don't have any types of text on them, because the moment you end up adding text to your badges is the moment Google's policies start to work against you. Maybe there's more policy violations that start to happen or anything along those lines. So to prevent that from happening, you need to ensure that your badges are pretty straightforward. They don't have any types of text on them, but they kind of invoke some kind of emotion or feeling, ideally the feelings of trust within your brand as a whole. But these are kind of the major things which you find the most success with for brands we work with under my Google Ads agency, Your Marketing, which if you run a brand doing $50,000 a month or more and you need extra help scaling your brand to the very next level, go onto my website at yourmarketing.com, schedule a completely free call with me, and let's see how we can potentially work together and make that happen.